All right, let's just dive right into this. Every single day, millions of us pull out our phones, scan a QR code, tap in a PIN, and boom, money instantly moves from one place to another. Honestly, it feels incredibly simple, almost like magic, right? But what if we could freeze time? What if we could take those 2 or 3 seconds it takes for a transaction to process and stretch them completely out to see what's actually happening behind the scenes? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are going to uncover the massive, invisible security infrastructure that is hidden right inside your simple, everyday transactions. We're going to look way past the surface to see exactly how a UPI payment is securely processed, step by step. To really get a grip on this, let's anchor it in a situation we have all been in. Picture this. You're standing at your favorite local cafe. You've just ordered your go-to drink, and the bill comes out to exactly 250 rupees. Now, instead of digging around for cash, you just pop open your preferred UPI app on your phone, you scan the cafe's code, you verify the amount, punch in your PIN, and hit complete. And then, within literally 2 or 3 seconds, you get that super satisfying payment successful screen. But have you ever actually stopped to ask yourself what happens right after you press pay? I mean, in that tiny fleeting window of time, how does the system know it was really you? How does the money find its way to that specific cafe? And why can't some hacker just, intercept that digital signal in midair, change the amount to $25,000 and route it to their own bank account? Well, in the time it takes you to take a single breath, dozens of critical cryptographic checks and secure routing operations kick into high gear to make sure absolutely none of that bad stuff happens. Let's break down that 3-second window. Starting with Section 1, Scanning and Merchant Verification. Look, there is a massive myth surrounding this exact moment. A lot of people just assume that scanning a QR code can automatically suck money right out of your account, or that the code itself is holding highly sensitive banking data. It absolutely doesn't. You should think of a QR code exactly like someone's digital address. It literally just contains the merchant's UPI ID and a few basic details. Notice that the QR code itself doesn't authorize a single thing. Anyone can scan it, but nothing happens until you take action. It's really no different than just reading a mailing label. So the crucial point is what happens next. The very millisecond you scan that code, your app quietly pings the UPI network just to check if that digital address is even real. It checks if the ID exists, if the receiving bank is online, and then, and this is super important, it displays the verified merchant's name right there on your screen. This is your very first line of defense. Think about it. If you're standing inside ABC Cafe, but your phone suddenly says you're about to pay XYZ traders, you instantly know something is very wrong. Simply reading that verified name is one of the easiest yet most effective ways you can defend yourself against fraud. Moving right along to Section 2. The true purpose of PINs. Okay, so you type in your UPI PIN, but let's clear up another huge misconception here. Your UPI PIN doesn't directly move your money. Actually, scratch that. It acts as cryptographic proof of your authorization. It's exactly like signing a physical check. The ink of your signature doesn't magically sprout legs, pick up the cash, and walk it over to someone. It just authorizes the bank to do all the heavy lifting for you. So entering your PIN tells your bank, hey, I securely approve this payment. And the best part? That PIN is never stored in plain text anywhere. It's wrapped up in strong cryptography so tightly that not even your own payment app can see it or retrieve it. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates why just stealing your phone isn't nearly enough for a thief to empty out your bank account. Look at all the layers here. First, to even try to make a payment, a thief needs your actual physical device. Then, they have to somehow bypass your phone's lock screen. On top of that, modern smartphones usually require a biometric lock, like your fingerprint or a face scan, just to open the payment app itself. And finally, they would still need that encrypted UPI PIN. So unless the thief also happens to be a mind reader, your money is safe. It is a multi-layered fortress designed specifically to make unauthorized payments incredibly difficult. Which brings us to Section 3, the invisible shield and secure routing. Now your app bundles up all the important details: who is sending the money, who is receiving it, the 250 rupees amount, and the exact timestamp. But before this highly sensitive package is launched out into the perilous internet, it gets wrapped in this invisible shield of secure communication. This means that as your data hops across different networks, unauthorized parties literally cannot read your payment instructions, and they definitely cannot alter them. They can't just snatch it in midair and change the receiver or bump up the amount. This invisible shield of integrity and encryption is the absolute foundation of all digital banking. And where exactly does that secure package go first? Well, it heads to the NPCI, the folks who operate the UPI infrastructure. A lot of people mistakenly picture the NPCI as this giant digital vault holding everyone's money. It is not. It is essentially an incredibly intelligent traffic controller. Think of a courier company, right? The courier doesn't actually own your package. They just make sure it gets to the correct destination safely and efficiently. The NPCI securely routes your payment instructions between your bank and the cafe's bank, enforcing really strict operational rules every step of the way. Next up is Section 4, the bank's final verification.
Now, these systems work at absolutely lightning speed. The receiving bank does a rapid-fire checklist. Sufficient balance? Checked. Within daily limits? Checked. Normal geographic location? Checked. No rapid-fire payment attempts? Checked. The banks are continuously running these advanced fraud detection algorithms, just looking for anything suspicious, like, say, a sudden massive payment from a city you have literally never visited. If it spots a red flag, it slams on the brakes and blocks the transaction. If it's all clear, it gives the green light.
So let's recap. Identity verified, merchant validated, secure communication established, balances checked, fraud rules processed, confirmation generated, all of that incredibly complex cryptography routing and checking has completely finished, and you look down at your screen to see payment successful. Total time elapsed, 3 seconds. It is an absolute marvel of modern engineering. But that brings us to Section 5, the real vulnerability. I want you to put yourself in a hacker's shoes for a second. You know for a fact that the banking encryption is practically unbreakable. You know you can't intercept the transaction and modify the amount because of those secure communication shields. You know you can't forge the cryptographic verification of the PIN. The digital fortress is completely 100% impregnable. So, where do you attack? What is the weak link in this entire chain? Well, the answer is staring right at us. Look at the data here. Attackers don't attack the payment system. They attack us. Real-world attacks aren't about breaking the math. They rely almost entirely on social engineering. Hackers use fake payment screenshots, bogus customer care numbers, screen-sharing apps, and phishing messages. They don't need to break the cryptography if they can just manipulate human trust and convince you to hand over the keys to the castle yourself. And that brings us to the absolute most critical takeaway of this entire explainer. Never share your UPI PIN. Not over a phone call, not in a quick text message, not in an email. No legitimate bank or payment provider will ever, under any circumstances, ask you for your PIN. Remember what we said earlier? Your PIN is your digital signature. You would never hand a total stranger a blank signed check, so you should absolutely never hand over your PIN. The architecture behind a UPI payment is incredibly robust. It uses layers upon layers of authentication, secure routing, and cryptographic verification to protect every single transaction you make. If one layer somehow fails, another is right there to catch it. But at the end of the day, the ultimate firewall isn't made of code. It's made of awareness. Modern payment systems are highly secure, for sure, but users must remain equally secure. So it leaves us with one final, kind of unsettling question. As banking algorithms become completely unbreakable, what links will hackers go to in order to hack the human mind instead? Stay curious, stay secure, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.